NXT presented its latest premium live event yesterday afternoon with Worlds Collide, a show that saw the Neon brand do battle with the stars of NXT UK and the WWE main roster while unifying several championships. NXT champion Braun Breaker battled NXT UK champion Tyler Bate in the main event of a show that merged two proud brands into one and ensured the future of WWE remained bright. Who emerged from that epic encounter the undisputed NXT champion? And which superstars joined them in establishing themselves as the standard bearers at NXT? Find out with this recap of Worlds Collide. Welcome, everybody, to this special edition of Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined by good old MF, Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting maybe the presence of the Phenom Michael Bullock. We did not have our traditional Raw chat like we usually do. I'm sure he had holiday plans, my guess, but if he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness. But let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right on in. Yes, it's a special edition of Ridiculously Raw this time around. It's not our traditional Ridiculously Raw where we just do Monday Night Raw and then we go into my Tony's Take on Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. What we're going to do is we're going to review NXT Worlds Collide, and then we're going to review Monday Night Raw, and then we're going to call it a night. We're going to bypass the Tony's Take this week, but the Tony's Take will be back next week. So with all that, let's get into our first match of the night, which was for the NXT North American Championship. The champion, Carmelo Hayes, defending against Ricochet. Winner of the match in 15 minutes and 57 seconds, and still the NXT champion, Carmelo Hayes. You can easily make an argument that this was the fight of the night. I mean, oh my word, what a match. The finish was highly, perhaps appropriately so, ironic. After both guys emptied their arsenals, executing jaw-dropping spots and maneuvers, it was a classic roll-up, small package that earned Carmelo Hayes the win. If anything, it was proof that while the self-proclaimed A champion may be one of the great athletes in wrestling today, he is cerebral and opportunistic. Those traits earned him a win over a main roster competitor in Ricochet that has credibility and legitimacy and will only help to elevate the dynamic Hayes Bright star. And you notice Carmelo's entrance included jerseys bearing the names of every challenger he conquered during his time in NXT, followed by one with Ricochet's name on it, in an attempt to play mind games before this hotly anticipated match. Chants of "This is awesome" broke out early as the crowd appreciated the action to that point. Hayes caught Ricochet with a beautiful springboard clothesline that saw him launch himself halfway across the squared circle. Champion and challenger took off for the ropes, launched themselves off with a springboard and collided midair with a double cross body. Hayes answered a super kick with a throat thrust but fell prey to the recoil. Fantastic match. You can easily call fight of the night on this one. I got to give this in excess of 4.25, at least 4.25 stars. I think 4.5 might be a little bit of a reach, but nonetheless, 4.25 stars. Fantastic opener. MF special indeed. So there isn't much more to say here. MF, you want to talk about the perfect match to jump off an event of this magnitude and to get the crowd amped up and white hot for it? This was it.
Not only this was it, but this was, like you said, it was an MS special. These are two of my guys. I love Ricochet. I always called him half man, half amazing, the human joystick. And then of course my appreciation and respect for the A champ, Carmelo Hayes, and both men did not disappoint. Yes, 4 to 4.25. If you would have gone 4.5, I would have called you crazy, and I said that would have been a reach and a half. But this was an amazing match, an amazing way to start off NXT Worlds Collide, and truly, truly an amazing matchup, to say the very least. So yeah, great jump off. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's back to you.
All right, MF. you'll be leading off on the next match, which was the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match to unify the NXT and NXT UK Tag Team Championship. NXT Tag Team Champions, the Creed Brothers. NXT UK Tag Team Champions, Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. Pretty Deadly and Gallus. Briggs and Jensen were the first to fall. They were eliminated by Gallus 4 minutes and 45 seconds in. And then at 8 minutes and 37 seconds, Gallus eliminated by the Creed Brothers. And then in a total time of 15 minutes and 34 seconds, the winners and unified NXT Tag Team Champions, Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly win the titles. Creed Brothers got screwed, but it was not by who we thought. It was not Roderick Strong. It was Damon Kemp. Damon Kemp was the mole. And you noticed earlier in the day, Roddy was taken out. Don't be surprised if Damon Kemp had something to do with that too. A la what we saw with Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. When Roxanne was taken out, we all thought it was Toxic Attraction. No, it was Cora Jade. I think the same thing may have happened here. But nonetheless, MF, surprise outcome. You and I thought Gallus were going to win it. It was a UK team, just not the one we thought. Pretty Deadly. Undisputed NXT Tag Team Champions, and we can all thank Damon Kemp for that.
Yeah, I cannot believe that happened. I had Gallus going in. I really thought they were going to give them the big moment, and they give it to Pretty Deadly of all teams. I cannot believe that just happened. First off, yes, there is a shocker because it was Damon Kemp. Damon Kemp was the mold. Damon Kemp, I think the question that's going to come around is that, was Damon Kemp playing Diamond Mine all along? Was he aligned with Pretty Deadly in order to help them become the undisputed unified tag team champions? There's more to the story than what meets the eye, and we all were thinking Roderick Strong was going to screw the Creed Brothers, and it was not. So I think we owe Roddy somewhat of an apology. I don't think it's a full-fledged apology, but obviously now, if you're the Creeds, who do you trust? Because obviously you feel like you can't really trust Roderick Strong because of what happened in the past. You sure as hell cannot trust Damon Kemp now because of his betrayal. So, I mean, who do you trust in Diamond Mine? So, I don't know. I think we might be seeing the split of Diamond Mine right before our very eyes, Anthony Florio. I think Diamond Mine is dead, especially after what happened here. So, that is one thing. And then the other thing is the shocker of Pretty Deadly becoming the undisputed tag champions. So, I mean, I think that's more of the bigger story than anything else, because now you're going to have Gallus coming after them. You're going to have the Creed Brothers. They're gonna want another shot at the unified titles. And then also you also got to keep a close eye on Brooks and Jansen and Briggs, because they deserve an opportunity at the tag titles, because they were the UK champions prior to them losing the belts. So I mean, there's going to be a lot to talk about. There's going to be a lot to decipher here, but this was an amazing match. Another 3.5-star battle. I think the 3.5 is more of the shocker and the twist and the turns that were going through it, only for us to see that the undisputed champions is Pretty Deadly. I don't think none of us had us going. I don't even think Michael Bullock or even D.D. Woodson would have had him. I don't really think anybody really thought that Pretty Deadly was going to become the unified champions. So, I mean, you want to talk about shocking outcomes and things I know you definitely like, Anthony, and that unpredictability booking. This was very unpredictable. We could have had a number of teams. I think we would not have been surprised if it would have been. Um, I don't think we would have been too surprised if it would have been the Creeds. I don't think we would have been a little surprised if it would have been Jansen and Briggs. I know we all were picking Gallus. I think everybody was picking Gallus for Pretty Deadly to walk out of here as the undisputed NXT Tag Champions. I think that's a testament to the writing, the booking, and this is what they needed: a breath of fresh air, a new look to the tag team division, and boy, do we got it with the Pretty Deadly walking out of here as the unified champions. 3.5 to 3 3/4. Anthony, it's yours.
3.5, 3 3/4. I agree. This was a wild, chaotic match that had some great stuff from the Creed brothers and the typical strong work from the underrated new champions. Some of the bookings, such as eliminating Briggs and Jensen first, and then booking a pull-apart brawl between them and Gallus to take the referee out and set up the finish, were definitely puzzling, though. That can be said about much of the booking leading to this particular match and involving the stars at play. The match was good and had great energy, but some of the strategic moves took attention away from the in-ring action. And then the Damon Kemp turn made up for it. With Roderick Strong laid out and bloodied in the parking lot earlier in the day, it is likely to be revealed that Damon Kemp was responsible for that, setting him up for a big singles push and in line for a feud with his former Diamond Mine partners. There are worse positions to be in for a young competitor. And you notice Fallon Henley, Lash Legend, came out with their respective teams and they wasted little time brawling at ringside as their feud continued. A scary fall from the top rope by Jensen resulted in him smacking his face. He was quickly eliminated from the match by Gallus. The Creed brothers delivered a modified version of the legendary Road Warriors Doomsday device to send Gallus packing after pinning Wolfgang. And there was a late match referee bump caused by Briggs, Jensen, and Gallus brawling back into the arena. So, yeah, so 3.5, 3 3/4 for this. Moving on, it was the triple threat match to crown the undisputed NXT Women's Champion. NXT UK Women's Champion Miko Satomura versus NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose versus number one contender Blair Davenport. The winner of the match in 13 minutes and 17 seconds, and the undisputed NXT Women's Champion, formerly known as the Golden Goddess, Mandy Rose. All right. I'm not the kind of guy that said to say I told you so, but I told you so. I mean, I told MF, I told Bullock, and look what happened. MF had Blair Davenport winning this match. Michael Bullock had Miko Satomura winning this match. And you could most certainly have made an argument for either one of them. Absolutely you could have. But let's be realistic. It was Mandy's time all along. And I'm not at all surprised. I mean, the quality of Satomura and Davenport all but ensured this was going to be a damn good match, but there was always doubt that Mandy Rose would be able to hang with two wrestlers infinitely more experienced. She proved she could, and in the process, deliver a defining performance. Some will argue Rose winning, but just like Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre on Saturday, if you were not absolutely certain Satomura and Davenport were the right competitors to end her title run, do not book that outcome. NXT officials did not, and Mandy Rose continues to stand atop the women's division in NXT. This was another 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 star match. Wade Barrett correctly stated that for Davenport, she had nothing to lose and everything to gain in this match. Mandy Rose delivered a JBL-esque follow-away slam to Davenport per Vic Joseph on commentary. Chants of women's wrestling rained down from the fans in support of the match the competitors had delivered to that point, and Satomura delivered Scorpio Rising to break up a pin attempt. But But nonetheless, this was 3.5 to 3.75 of a star, and I can't say I'm surprised with the outcome. I had a feeling. I went with my gut on this one. I very easily could have gone with one of these guys, but no, I listened to my gut on this one, and I'm not at all surprised. Not at all surprised. So Mandy Rose is now the undisputed NXT Women's Champion. So there isn't much more to say except MF. And not just MF, but to everybody else out there who doubted her, it's about damn time you put respect on the name of Mandy Rose. And oh, by the way, I told you so.
Okay. Congratulations, Mandy, for being the undisputed champion. Now what? Now where do we go from here? That's the problem that NXT has. She's about to wipe out the entire division. There's really nobody really left except maybe Nikita Lyons. And the thing is, it could have been Cora Jade. It could have been Roxanne Perez. You know, I think we all wanted Roxanne to be the one. But I just feel like right now, there's a major disconnect. And that's the biggest problem that NXT really has right now. People have been booking Mandy and a Toxic Attraction really well. And now they're continuing to put that on. And okay, great. But where do you go? Where's the next move? If it's Nikita, then obviously Nikita will probably be the one to unseat her. But if she knocks her off, then where do you go? Are we going to feel that Mandy is deserving? And the thing is, they made Meiko Satomura look strong here. She didn't eat the pin. It was Blair Davenport that ate the pin that lost the match. And that's a criminal situation for her. Because she was one of the top stars in NXT UK and one of the top contenders. And you just sacrificed her. So, obviously, Meiko Satomura's got a match coming up because she was, well, if you remember, there was a backstage thing after. Cora Jade tried to call her out on a match, and Meiko said no. She said that someone else is more worthy than you. And I'm going to prove it on Tuesday night. So Meiko Satomura is fighting someone this Tuesday night on NXT tomorrow night. And it's not Cora Jade. I don't know who. I think I heard it was Tiffany Stratton. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the rumor. Mandy Rose will now go on the high horse and say that she's the greatest women's champion of all time. And let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of people out there that's going to say, no, you're nowhere close to being the greatest. Yeah, you had a great title reign, but there was one fan that flipped out and said it. She gets away. She never wins anything outright. She always finds a way to win. She sneaks her way to the victory. It's never been a true victory. It's never been some kind of thing. It would with this match, Meiko was on the verge of winning the title, and Mandy took her out, and then put in Blair to win the title. So I don't know what to say. It's a 3.5-star match, and that's fine. But there's and this is the one thing that we get. A lot of criticism is just the booking is predictable. However, you got to honor her. You got to put respect on her name. Fine, we'll put respect. You deserve it. You're the undisputed champ now. But the problem is where do you go from here? Because like I said, she has practically almost wiped out the entire NXT women's division. Practically almost except for one person. And we got to put our money on Nikita Lyons to be the be all the end all. I mean, that's a lot of pressure on Nikita too to put that type of stamp on her. But the problem is she's kind of involved right now in this little rivalry with Kiana James. So we can't necessarily say this is where it's going to play out. We can't, not yet. I don't know. I don't know, Anthony. I think I'm happy for Mandy, but I kind of felt like they could have done some other storylines, have her chase for the belt for a little bit, you know, let Blair or Miko be the undisputed champion because you know you also want to give NXT UK a moment. But even though they got the tag team titles, that's great for them. But remember, a lot of these guys, this might be their only shot they would have had. We don't know if we know Miko's coming back, but we don't know if Blair is. We know a lot of the talent got let go too. So I don't know. I don't know, Anthony. I think, like I said, yes, you got it right. Congratulations. But at what cost or at what price did that happen? The ripple effect of that moment. That's all I'm just saying. So, Florio, it's yours. Oh, okay. Apparently, we just lost Anthony for the moment. So, let's just hang on. Hopefully, he'll come back. All right, let me see if I can get the NXT. There we go, World Collide. All right. So while we're waiting for Anthony to make his return, I'm gonna try to continue with the show here as best I can. So the next match that we did have on the fight card, guys, is that we had was Katana Chance and Kaden Carter for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles against Doudrop and Nikki ASH, and it was Katana Chance and Kaden Carter winning the match in 10 minutes and 19 seconds, which was a solid match. It was pretty good. It was an all right fight. By default, I must call worst fight of the night. This was about maybe a 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. They did well for what they had to do. The body of work of the ladies were really well done and everything else. And I kind of felt like at the end of the day, you know, the right team won. They had to give the moment to Katana and Kaden, you know, just to give everybody just that feel good moment more than anything else. So nothing more to say there, as the champions do indeed remain the champions, and that led to the main event of the evening, as it was Braun Breaker versus Tyler Bate to unify the NXT Championship and the NXT United Kingdom Championship. The winner of the bout in 17 minutes and 11 seconds, and now the undisputed NXT champion is Braun Breaker. Again, no big surprise here. We all expected Braun to win the match and to win the title. It was a solid main event. This was another 3-star match, to say the very least. Again, the final 3 matches were kind of predictable, so there was no big drama or surprise here. And again, Braun is another guy that's been clearing out the locker room, clearing out the NXT roster right now. I mean, maybe the only one that has a legit shot, and maybe a guy that I would love to see win the NXT championship, would probably be Ilya Dragunov. He was one of the longest reigning NXT UK champions. He lost the belt because of the fact that he got injured, and that really kind of cost him a little bit of some time there. So, I mean, I think Ilya Dragunov would be a perfect opportunity and a perfect guy that could, unless they want to go back to the well with WWE guys and maybe have a WWE guy come down to challenge Braun for the title again, like Dolph Ziggler did. That would probably be the only thing I could think of that would be maybe a logical choice or a logical sense, to say the very least here. So at the end of the day, that would be my guy or the person that I would think that would be perfect for the situation and undoubtedly to try to win the NXT championships more than anything else. As far as overall review goes, as far as like my final thought of NXT UK, the Worlds Collide show, it was expected. This was a solid show. I think we were kind of feeling a lot of pressure on what this show was going to look like and the whole 9 yards. And I really thought they did a really good job with it. I thought they did excellent professional wrestling. It was an incredible event. Obviously, the fight of the night and the match that everybody's going to be talking about more than anything else was the Carmelo Hayes versus Ricochet match. What a way to jump it off! That was definitely the fight of the night. Then you had some solid matches. The tag team titles was pretty good. Like I said, the triple threat was solid. I'm not gonna poo poo on it too hard. I think that'd be horrible on my part to do. Then of course, the the tag championships unfortunately was worst fight of the night, and then the main event itself was incredible. Solid main event for another 3.5 star. For me, overall rating, I gotta give this maybe an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I really thought they did a great job with it. So I really got nothing more to add. While we're waiting for Anthony to get back, hopefully he does come back very soon. I guess I can jump ahead here and give my thoughts on Monday Night Raw, give my Raw review, and just set everything up here. So we'll just have to wait and see what's going on. And with that said, we're just going to start off with Edge cutting a promo, interrupted by Rey Mysterio, then was interrupted by Judgment Day, including Dominic Mysterio. This was the moment that we were hoping for. We were going to try to get some kind of explanation. Of course, Rey came out at first, talking to Edge to say, listen, look, he's my son, this and that. There's really nothing more to add here. I mean, it's just been a little bit of a rough situation. But, I mean, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do here? I feel like, I got to protect my son. I got to protect him any way I can, for the situation that's going on. I'm sorry that this happened to you and the whole 9 yards. And, he tries to be apologetic, but then Edge was right about it. He was like, look, your son is his own man. He can drink, he can drive, he can do whatever he wants. So he just said that I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm going to continue on and I'm going to handle my business. And that's basically to give your son a lesson he will never forget. And that is exactly what they were going to try to do. And yeah, so he comes out, goes for a full-fledged attack, which was pretty badass on his part. But, Dominic, and this really was the moment of the night for me, and where I really was like, oh my god, this is excellent work by WWE, because of the fact that Dom never talked or said anything. Rhea was the mouthpiece for him, but the look of the intensity, the fire in the eyes of Dominic Mysterio was, oh my God, it was amazing what we saw. And it was truly like, I mean, you didn't need to say anything. Just the mere fact that he had that look in his eyes, that fire in his eyes, that anger, whatever you want to call it, he looked flawless in it. And I was like, whoa, this was this was amazing. This was badass as it could get. I thought the story was told great, and they really set it up what was undoubtedly going to be the rest of the night. So for me, they nailed this one more than anything else. Judgment Day does get the leg up on the Mysterio, and I loved it. I loved how they did it. So I thought that was a really good way to do it. Um, then we had our first fight of the evening, which was the tag team. Well, it was going to be a fatal four-way for the right to be the number one contenders for the tag team titles. It was the New Day, Alpha Academy, Los Lotharios, and Street Profits. Well, the fight got thrown out, and basically, the next thing we know, here comes Braun Strowman. Oh my God, are you kidding me? If Anthony Florio and Michael Bullock were both here right now, yeah, the roar would definitely be ringing out in this room right now. So, Braun coming back. We knew he was coming back, but we had no idea he was gonna come back like this, man. This was freight train level stuff. This was Braun Breaker being the dominant. Um, I mean, this was what we expected. This was, oh my heavens, what a way to start it. This was an epic moment for us. I even when I heard the roar, I was like, oh no, this is not happening right now. Oh yes, it was, and boy, did it come! It came absolutely at a devastating level, destroying everybody in sight. Montez, it was Angelo Dawkins going through the table, Otis going through the little retaining barrier right by where ringside was. Uh, Strowman was on a rampage as always, destroying people left and right. Oh my God, this was epic. I absolutely positively loved what I saw. This was amazing, to say the very least. And that was another one of those big moments of the night for Monday Night Raw. I mean, that was absolutely phenomenal, absolutely amazing. Obviously, the fight's in NA, so we got to throw it out. But to say the very least, it was cool. So next up, we had was Aaliyah and Raquel Rodriguez versus Nikki ASH and Doudrop in a non-title match. Um, and Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah does win the match in 3 minutes and 45 seconds, which was, it was fine for what it was worth. I mean, it was a little bit of a what they call paint by numbers type match. I think it could have been a lot more stronger, a lot more better, the way that it was playing out. And they did what they needed it to do. They handled their business, which was fine for what it was worth. I enjoyed it. And at the end of the day, I feel like the right team won. So yes, hats off to these ladies. This was about maybe a 1.5 star match. I think it could have been a lot more better, but it was fine for what it was worth. But I will give a lot of credit and a lot of love at the end because of Raquel Rodriguez, Big Mommy Cool with that power bomb on Doudrop to end it. That was, oh my God, what a visual that was. That was amazing. That was awesome. More than anything else, that will be the one of the highlights of the night for Monday Night Raw, definitely. And with that said, we will move on. Next up, we had was Austin Theory cutting a promo to be interrupted by Kevin Owens. It was a 2-for-1 deal because it was Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory. Owens wins the match. in 15 minutes and 40 seconds. And man, this was a good fight. Definitely one of the fights of the night. It was a solid 3 and a quarter, 3.5 star match. And to get 15 minutes, look, not only did Owens look really good as the prize fighter, but you also got to give a lot of credit to Austin Theory as well. He did an incredible job in this match as well. Looked very strong, very good in the action as well. So I really got nothing bad to say about this match. So this was another one of those top quality fights that I would definitely say was really good, and I was very impressed, to say the very least. And yeah, so like I said, I really enjoyed it. So it was what it needed it to be. It was exactly what it needed it to be. A showcase fight, and both men looked really good, to say the very least. So next up we had was Damage Control. They cut it a promo. Of course, it was about, first off, there was two bits of news that they brought out. One, that Io Sky and Dakota Kai are challenging Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles next week on Monday Night Raw. So we had that going on. And then the other part of it was that, Bailey was gloating over the fact that she pinned Bianca Belair, winning the match. And that necessarily prompted Bianca to come out, cut a promo saying, well, I'm here for, if you want to do something about it, we could do this tonight. And, she said no. She said, deep down inside, not going to happen because of the fact that, we're going to do something down the line, and, we'll handle this. You know, I'm more worried about my girls, Dakota and Io, to win the women's tag titles. But I will rest assure you, when the time is right, I will challenge for the Raw Women's title, and I'm gonna get that belt. Not now. So mind games by Bailey, and she is right. I think they might be grooming Bailey to possibly be the one to dethrone Bianca Belair. So will that happen? I guess that we'll wait and find out. That'll be sometime down the line. All right, we got our host back. All right, Anthony. I covered a lot of ground. I don't know if you've been listening to the show, but
No, I have
yeah.
not been
So
listening.
all right, man. So I had to be wingman and take over. Don't worry, bro. Hopefully I left you at a very good spot, and it's back to you, boss.
Okay, where did you leave off before I was so rudely interrupted?
Basically, I was talking about. I think I was in the NXT. Yeah, I was actually on the NXT because I was still talking about the women's title situation, and then we were gonna go into the women's tag team title fight.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I went there, and then I went into the Monday Night Raw recap. So
Oh good,
my
good.
recap, I only got up to. I haven't even gotten to the Mysterio and Damian Priest fight yet, but I covered everything else.
Well, I very much appreciate that. Sorry about that, my friends. Unfortunately, what happened was my computer crashed. Um, ran into a problem,
Technology,
had to
folks.
restart the whole 9 yards. What's that? Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly what happened. So all right. All right, MF. I appreciate you. Helping out there. So keeping the show going in my lengthy absence, but I'm back here and I'm ready to go. So all right. Kaden Carter and Katana Chance versus Doudrop and Nikki ASH for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. Carter and Chance won the match, 10 minutes and 19 seconds. It was no doubt about it. It was the worst fight of the night. I mean, they both worked hard, but it was the least compelling match of the night. I mean, most of it was because it was randomly thrown together in the whole nine and what have you. But let me see. It was an interesting match for a few reasons, not the least of which is the fact that the champions were hardly presented as equals to their challengers. From there, Toxic Attraction cost the other heels the match, allowing the supposed babyfaces to win and retain the titles. Booking was ass backward, and it'll take a lot of explaining to both make sense and connect the way it should. And with that said, a feud between Dolan and Jane and Doudrop and ASH is hardly a bad idea, especially as Doudrop attempts to reboot her partner from the failed superhero to a refocused in-ring threat. I would give that about 3 to 3.25 stars for that effort. So there's no question about it. And I'll get into something I just found out in just a moment. And then the main event, it was the NXT Championship matchup. The match to unify the NXT and NXT UK Championships. NXT Champion Braun Breaker versus the NXT UK Champion Tyler Bate. Winner and the new unified NXT Champion. 17 minutes and 11 seconds. Braun Breaker wins the match. I would have to say it was probably maybe the other fight of the night here. This was about another 4.25 or so star match. This was not only representative of how extraordinary a pro wrestler Tyler Bate is, but also reflective of Breaker's growth as an in-ring performer. A year ago, he would not have had this match. He was too green, too raw, and way too excited to deliver all of the fancy moves he could without stringing them together with any fluidity. The second generation star has matured, and it showed in spades here as he hung with the celebrated UK competitor. Would it have been nice to see Tyler Bate get the titles here and embark on a run as the true face of the NXT brand, a brand that could use a bit of freshening up? Sure. But this was an alright call for now, given all the work and energy that has gone into building and positioning Braun Breaker as the face of the brand. So there isn't much more to say on that. So that was about 4.25, teetering on 4.5 for that. MF, what did you give for an overall rating on Worlds Collide? Because for me, I'm going to give it 7.5 to 8. Because, I thought it was a very good show. And all of the matches were good. I mean, we only had one meh match. But other than that, all of the other matches were solid to good to great. So, which is all you can ask for. And it's going to be, it's probably going to be back to reality tomorrow night, I'm sure. But, MF, you mentioned about Miko Satomura and who she's going to be facing. It's not Tiffany Stratton. It's Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez is going to face Miko Satomura
Wow,
on NXT 2.0
that's
tomorrow
going to be
night.
a match.
Isn't it?
Roxanne
And,
Perez versus Mika. Oh, boy. Uh-oh. I just thought of something.
What?
You know who's going to get involved now.
Cora?
You got it.
Yeah.
She's jealous out of her mind now because Miko Satomura versus Roxanne Perez.
Yep.
Here we go.
What did you give for an overall rating on Worlds Collide, MF?
I said 8 out of 10. I actually talked about it as well. You can go back and review it. I don't really need to go any more than that. So
No, because I was trying to get my stuff together here, so that's why. So but anywho, let's all right, Monday Night Raw, of course, Labor Day edition of Monday Night Raw. It was live tonight from the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri, or as I like to, when I like to give an ode to one of the great old school ring announcers of our generation. The great Tom Miller of the NWA, who used to refer to it as Kansas City, Missouri, and that's how I usually like to say it. But but anyways, it was in Kansas City tonight, and it started off with an in-ring segment with Rey Mysterio, with Edge calling out Dominic Mysterio, Ray comes out and Ray, was begging and pleading and all that, but nothing doing there. So that's all there was to do on that. And Dominic did show up, but the Judgment Day, they got to Edge and they did a number on him. And next Monday night on Raw, if all goes well, it will be Edge one-on-one with Dominic Mysterio for the first time since Dom turned heel as after what we saw at Clash at the Castle. So that was really all there was to say on that. So and Matt, did you address that segment at all, or did you get into that opening segment by any chance?
Yes, I actually talked about it briefly. Yeah, and I did talk about how the intensity from Dominic, just the look in his eye, even when Ray was trying to talk to Dominic, he was so fixated on Edge. Like the visual itself, the look of anger, the disgust, the rage from Dominic towards Edge looked like visually, that was incredible by Dominic. He absolutely fits as a heel. I can buy him. Now, I don't know what he's going to be in the ring, but right now, I'm all for it, man. Sign me up for him being a heel. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those facials. I mean, it was perfect. I mean, it kind of reminded me of Matt Hardy after he turned heel on Jeff at the Royal Rumble in 2009. So, but we are officially in the post Clash at the Castle period before WWE begins to sink its teeth into the build-up for Extreme Rules. But we still saw some groundwork laid tonight for the next pay-per-view on Saturday, October the 8th. With more than a month between major events, WWE has given itself a little breathing room so it can take its time building up the storylines that will fill up the card. And tonight's show didn't have much fallout to deal with since no titles changed hands on Saturday. But we did get to see Bobby Lashley defend the United States Heavyweight Championship against The Miz inside a 15-foot-high steel temper cage. And we'll get into that at the end because that was our main event this evening. So just need to fix a little something here. All right, there we go. Wanted to get rid of that. All right. So yeah, I am right there with you, MF. Absolutely. As far as what happened here, while most of this should have played out on Saturday instead of tonight, it's still good that WWE finally pulled the trigger on this, and now we can build toward Ray versus Dom at some point. This segment was better than expected and a good sign that Dom might actually fit in with Judgment Day if booked properly. And Edge is in a class by himself. The time he spent learning how to act has really helped make him one of the best performers in WWE history. And Rhea Ripley beating up guys every week is a good sign that we might get to see her face men in matches someday. If anyone could follow in Chyna's footsteps and win a singles title, usually reserved for men, it could be Rhea Ripley. So let's not let's consider that down the road. Anyways, next up we had a fatal 4-way match, and this was to determine the number one contenders for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. We had the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis versus the Los Lotharios, Angel and Humberto, and the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. The fight gets thrown out. It ends in a no contest. I don't have a time of the fall. And why did it end in a no contest, you ask? Well, I think this one little word might help you. Raw!
I was waiting for it!
I knew you were. MF, the monster among men, Braun Strowman, is back in WWE. It looks like, and hey, apparently he's not just Raw. He's not just exclusive to Raw, because he said later on in the night he's coming to Seattle. He's gonna be in Seattle Friday night on SmackDown. MF, whoa, you're in big trouble, boy. Whoa.
God, I mean, I'm a little nervous, but dude, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be amazing. I don't know. We'll see. But dude, not only that, Pat McAfee, let's go.
Oh, that's right. Pat McAfee. What's he gonna do? Oh, I mean, speaking of commentators, Corey Graves. Did you hear Corey Graves? I've never heard him go that nuts before.
Oh yeah, he did. He did.
And Jimmy Smith with his legendary "what" that Bullock and I love so much, one of our running gags. And obviously, I'm sure you rated the match as an NA. I'm sure, and
Agreed. Yes.
and rightfully so. I mean, damn shame though, because it was a really good match up to that point, until Braun Strowman showed up. I mean, the match was filled with the kind of action you would expect from these four teams. The big spots all looked good, but it was easy to lose track of who was legal at times. And while Strowman certainly looked dominant in his big return segment, it came at the expense of most of the tag team division. We didn't get new number one contenders, so that'll have to be decided at some point. This is one of those segments that most people will either love or hate. There will be very little middle ground. And it made no sense for the ref to allow Woods and Kingston to be the two legal men in the match, but the shenanigans that came as a result were funny enough to justify it. Dawkins hitting a pounce that sends someone into Ford's arms for a back suplex is a great spot. Ford slamming Otis was an impressive show of power. Strowman got a decent pop when he came out, so maybe WWE was right to bring him back. But, wow. So, not much more to say on that. So, business has damn sure picked up in WWE, and I can only imagine what's going to happen Friday night on SmackDown when he shows up in Seattle. So, Seattle, brace yourselves. Then we had, in a non-title match, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah, squaring off against Nikki ASH and Doudrop. Raquel and Aaliyah win the match, 3 minutes and 45 seconds. It was about a 1 to 1.5 star effort. I mean, the match wasn't long, but it wasn't a squash either. The champions picked up the win, and it looks like WWE is going to put some effort into the Women's Tag Team division. So this segment served its purpose. And the announcers talked about how Aaliyah didn't do much during the tournament, so they may already be planting the seeds for something down the line. Rodriguez was not in a good position to hit her finisher at the end. It wasn't really her fault, but at least she pulled off a slam of some kind. And damage control was shown watching the match from backstage, so Dakota Kai and Io Sky, they have their sights on the titles, and well, they don't have to, have their sights anymore, because MF next Monday night in Portland, Dakota Kai and Io Sky get their opportunity. They get their, I guess we could say, pseudo rematch, if you will. They get a shot at Raquel and Aaliyah, and I got a feeling they're going to win the belts.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of feel like this is going to be the makeup. I know a lot of people were hoping to see Dakota and Io win the titles the first time around, but they gave us the real awesome, shocking turn of events. But now I think, yeah, I think it's going to happen. I also got Dakota and Io walking out as the new women's tag team champions because of the fact that even now, if you notice, I don't know if you got into it, Anthony, but even Bailey emphasized that she was more worried about the women's tag belts instead of her pursuit for the women's title. So obviously they're on one focus, a unified focus, and that's to become the women's tag team champions.
All right, so all right, now we move on to the next match on the card here. Well, Austin Theory cuts a promo. He gets interrupted by Kevin Owens. and it leads into a match. Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory. Kevin Owens wins the match, 15 minutes and 40 seconds. You can most assuredly make a call for this to be the fight of the night. This was like 4 stars, maybe 4.25 for this. I mean, great matchup here. I mean, this was a very strong match, just to say the very least. And like I said, even though Kevin Owens never really, they didn't really set up a full turn, but he's definitely getting more and more over each and every time. And the prize fighter took it to the 25-year-old until the show cut to a break. And I'll tell you what, man. I mean, they fought through a second commercial break and had plenty of time to make this match both competitive and fun. It seemed like it could go either way for a little while, but Owens was able to get the win and celebrate in front of a happy crowd in Kansas City. Owens bringing up that WWE gave Theory his first name back was hilarious. And KO may have gotten a little too meta for some fans with his insults, but he is so good that he pulls it off. And Theory has a great dropkick. It's a movie hits well just about every time he does it. Very, very good match. 4 stars, teetering on 4.25. Now, MF, did you talk about the Damian Priest and Rey Mysterio match, or were you about to before I came back in?
I was about to when you came back.
Okay. But then there was but before that there was a promo segment with Damage Control, with Bayley, Dakota, and Io. They cut a promo interrupted by Bianca Belair, and there's no question about this, that Bayley and Bianca are on a collision course for the Raw Women's Championship. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that one. So possibly Extreme Rules. I mean, that might be the earliest possible date, unless they decide to do it sooner. But then again, with this current regime, you never know. So let's see what happens with it. But a solid segment, to say the least. All right, now this was the match. Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio. Damian Priest wins the match, 13 minutes and 35 seconds. And I'll take this for a spin first. 13:35. This was about 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 of a star for this. Rey Mysterio, 47 years old. The veteran made his usual comeback. Priest never let him get in too much offense before putting him down again. Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, and Dominic eventually made their way down to watch from the aisle as their teammate destroyed Dom's father. They did a good job balancing the long periods of time when Priest was in control with the short bursts of offense Rey would have. And since they were also given a decent amount of time, it never felt like they were in too much of a hurry. Priest was able to avoid the 619 with help from Dom, and then he hit South of Heaven for the win. Like I said, about 3.5 to 3 3/4, and Dominic being silent for all of this is a good move, and Ripley doing all of the talking is going to make all of this work much better. So 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4. MF, finally the Judgment Day, finally looking strong, even though they did lose the match on Saturday, but the Dom turn has definitely given them some much needed momentum, and then Priest keeps it up tonight. But Dom next week goes up against Edge. Tough. This will be without a doubt the biggest match of Dom's young career.
It's going to be a major test because now we're going to get to see a heel-sided Dominic Mysterio. What are we going to get from him more than anything else? But for this matchup for tonight, yeah, 3.5 stars. I thought they did a really good job. I thought they sold everything really well. So I really got nothing more to say. So Florio, it's yours.
Okay. All right. And before we get into our main event, next Monday night, Raw will be at the Moda Center, formerly the Rose Garden in Portland, Oregon, the home of the NBA's Portland Trailblazers. And next week, Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah will defend the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships against Io Sky and Dakota Kai of Damage Control. You could say a pseudo rematch, if you will. Johnny Gargano is going to make his in-ring return next week. They didn't say against who, so it's probably going to be a delicious squash, maybe. I don't know, but we'll see. And then, of course, Edge versus Dominic Mysterio. And next week, it's where the war begins, because next week marks the return of Monday Night Football.
Mm.
Denver Broncos, Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson returning to Seattle as a visitor for the first time. So we'll see what happens with that. And the debut, of course, of the new voices of Monday Night Football, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So see how that goes.
We'll get into that on Saturday.
Yes, indeed, we will. And then the main event of the evening for the United States Heavyweight Championship inside a steel temper cage. The champion, Bobby Lashley, defending against The Miz, Tommaso Ciampa in his corner. Winner of the match, 14 minutes and 15 seconds. And still, the United States Heavyweight Champion, the almighty Bobby Lashley. MF, Dexter Lumis, did it again. And oh, by the way, he finally gets his hands on The Miz and put him out with that silent submission move.
Yeah, look, it was a good, solid match. There's no doubt about it. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought they did a really good job with it. And yeah, at the end of the day, I think it could have been a lot more better than what it was. But at the end, it was solid. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good matchup. Second best fight of the night, and I'll give this about about 3.5 to 3 3/4. I thought they did a really good job with this. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm right here with you, MF. Let me see. Yep. Relatively predictable cage match in terms of how everything played out. It was good, but it won't stand out among other cage matches we have seen. It served its purpose of highlighting the U.S. title and giving Lashley another successful defense on his record. If Lashley had a couple of people holding mirrors, his entrance would be similar to that of Lex Luger when he was the narcissist. This is one of the few times when using picture-in-picture helped a lot. We got to see everything Ciampa and Miz did to Lashley's arm, so there was no mystery about why he was favoring it when we returned from the break. Miz is one of those guys a lot of people will appreciate more after revisiting his career down the line. He does so many little things well. He sells for his opponents, has great facial expressions, and knows exactly what to do to make the crowd react when he wants it to. 3.5, 3 3/4 for this. I agree with the rating here. And now to the overall review of this Labor Day edition of Monday Night Raw. Hey, another week under the Triple H regime. Another good show, another solid show. I'm not going to say it was a blowaway show or anything, but I will say it was a very good show. I probably would give this somewhere between 7.5 to 8, I guess. I mean, it was a very good Labor Day edition of Raw with the newsworthy return of Braun Strowman, the first look at heel Dominic Mysterio, and some quality matches. They didn't book any cliffhangers or advertise any pay-per-view worthy matches for next week, but they did announce a solid lineup of matches for the show that will run opposite the season premiere of Monday Night Football. So, fight of the night, Kevin Owens and Austin Theory. That was my fight of the night. Then you had a very good steel cage main event with Lashley and Miz for the U.S. title. You also had the another very good match with Damian Priest and Rey Mysterio. That four-way tag team match was very good up until the NA finished because of Braun Strowman, but that was a newsworthy return, even though we already knew about it in advance. The dirt sheets spoiled it, but who the hell cares, man? It was a sight to see, and a couple of good segments here and there. So I think about 7.5 to 8 would probably be the appropriate rating for this show here tonight. So with that, MF, take it home.
Yeah, another 8 out of 10. I really think they did a really good job with this. There's really nothing more to add. Floyo, let's call it a night.
And before we do, MF, I just want to make sure we have the proper start times for our show. So what time for Wednesday and Thursday?
All right, so Wednesday night's 10 p.m.
All right.
And Thursday's 10:30.
And Saturday?
10:30 as well.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to be sure to set that up. So, all right. So that will put the bow on this special edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. I apologize once again for the very rude technical interruption on my end, but these things do happen. I mean, live TV, right? Anything can happen, right? And boy, howdy, it sure did. So, but I'm all good now. So, but anyways, it will put the bow on this edition of this show. So we'll be back with you Wednesday night, 10 p.m., immediately following AEW Dynamite. MF will have it, Braves Fan 95. And that's going to be another big show. We're going to be jumping it off with our review of AEW All Out. And we'll also be reviewing NXT 2.0. We're going to be reviewing AEW Dynamite. And we're going to preview the Thursday Night Football game. The first game of the 2022 NFL season. My Buffalo Bills squaring off against the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. Oh, by the way, the Tony and Mikey game of the week. So that's an added bonus. So that'll be on Wednesday. Thursday night, 10:30. Week 2 of I almost said it, but TXN Sports World College Football Thursday, Week 2 edition, as we will preview the top 25 games of Week number 2, headlined by Alabama versus Texas and Baylor versus BYU. Those are the two big ones. There are some other notable games in there, but we'll get into all the top 25 action on Thursday. And if it's warranted, MF and I might throw in some bonus commentary of Bills and Rams. And I got a feeling it's going to be warranted. I don't know why, but I got a feeling it's going to be warranted. Friday night, 11 p.m. Following Rampage, MF will have it. Braves Fan 95, Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night, SmackDown, AEW Rampage. We're going to break that all down on Friday. And then Saturday night at 10:30, the season premiere of TXN Sports World, NFL Saturday. We'll have a brief recap of Bills and Rams. And then we'll preview the remaining 15 games of Week 1 of the 2022 NFL season. NFL is back, baby. Cannot wait. And then we do it all again right here next week on Ridiculously Raw. So, and the Tony Steak will be back. So that's it. So until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course the First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.